Let me say something that most men will misunderstand the moment they hear it. And that misunderstanding alone is the reason they struggle with attraction. When you hear that some women have what's called a rape fantasy, your mind might jump to something extreme, something literal, something uncomfortable, and in that moment, you either shut down or you completely misread what she actually feels. But here's the twist: the men who truly understand this, the ones who don't react emotionally but instead get curious, they unlock a completely different level of connection with women, a level most men never even get close to. Because this is not about what you think it is. It's not about harm. It's not about losing control. It's about something far more subtle, far more psychological. It's about the way a woman experiences desire when she feels safe enough to let go, when she doesn't have to think, decide, or protect herself for a moment. And instead, she can just feel, fully, deeply, intensely. And if you're a man who can understand that emotional layer, who can separate fantasy from reality, who can lead without crossing boundaries, then suddenly, you become different in her eyes. So instead of reacting, judging, or getting confused, stay with me, because what I'm about to show you is not what you expect, but it might completely change the way you understand attraction forever. Let's slow this down for a moment, because this is where most men completely misread the situation. When we talk about surrender in a woman's emotional world, we are not talking about giving up control to someone unsafe. We are talking about choosing to relax into a space where she no longer has to be in charge. And that choice only happens when she feels secure. When a woman is constantly managing her environment, thinking ahead, protecting herself emotionally, she stays in her mind, and attraction struggles to grow there. But when she's with a man whose presence feels grounded, calm, certain, something shifts. She begins to let go. Not because she has to, but because she wants to. And this is where your role as a man becomes powerful. Not through force, not through pressure, but through the way you carry yourself, your tone, your patience, your ability to stay composed instead of reactive. These things communicate safety on a deep, almost subconscious level. And when a woman feels that, her guard slowly comes down. She stops overthinking. She becomes more present, more open, more connected to the moment. Now here's the nuance most men miss. Psychological surrender is invited, not taken. It's created through trust, not demanded through intensity. The moment a woman feels pushed, rushed, or misunderstood, that sense of safety disappears instantly. And with it, the attraction fades. But when you understand this balance, when you lead with quiet confidence, when you allow her space while still guiding the energy between you, she naturally leans in, she relaxes. And that's when real chemistry begins to build, effortlessly, without force, without confusion, just a natural flow she feels safe to follow. Now let's go deeper into something every woman feels, but very few men truly understand: the desire to feel wanted, not politely liked, not casually appreciated, but deeply desired. There's a difference, and women can feel it instantly. Because surface-level attraction sounds like compliments. You look nice. You're pretty. But deep desire, it's felt in your energy, in the way you look at her, the way your attention lingers just a little longer, the way your voice slows down when you speak to her. It creates a subtle tension, a quiet intensity that says without words, I see you, and I'm drawn to you. But here's where many men go wrong. They think expressing desire means being aggressive, being overwhelming, or trying too hard to prove attraction. And that actually breaks the emotional experience, because instead of feeling desired, she starts feeling pressured, and pressure kills attraction faster than anything else. Real desire is controlled, it's grounded, it's present. It doesn't rush, it doesn't demand, it simply exists, and invites her to feel it too. For many women, the fantasy element comes from that heightened sense of being wanted, the feeling that in that moment, she is the center of your attention, that your focus isn't scattered, it's locked in, calm, confident, and certain. And when you can create that, without losing emotional awareness, Without crossing boundaries, something powerful happens. She begins to relax into that feeling. She allows herself to enjoy it, to respond to it, to mirror it. So the real skill here is not intensity for the sake of it, it's emotional precision, knowing how to express desire in a way that feels safe, respectful, and real. Because when a woman feels deeply desired in that way, she doesn't pull away. She leans closer, almost without realizing it. This is the point where everything becomes clear, or completely misunderstood, depending on how you choose to see it. Because what happens in a woman's imagination stays in a very specific, controlled space, a space where she is safe, aware, and ultimately in control of the experience, even if the fantasy itself doesn't look that way on the surface. And that's the part many men fail to grasp. They confuse the theme of the fantasy with the reality of what a woman wants. And those two things are not the same, not even close. In imagination, there are no real risks, no real consequences. Everything is filtered through emotion, symbolism, and personal meaning. A scenario can feel intense, exciting, even overwhelming, but underneath it, there's always a layer of safety, a quiet understanding that this is something she is choosing to explore mentally, not something she wants imposed on her in real life. The moment that line gets blurred, the moment fantasy is treated like instruction, everything shifts, and not in a good way. Trust breaks, comfort disappears, and attraction shuts down almost instantly. So what does this mean for you as a man? It means your job is not to act out anything extreme. It's to respect the boundary between imagination and reality, and to operate fully in a space of awareness, communication, and consent. Because real attraction doesn't come from guessing or assuming, it comes from understanding, from being tuned in enough to know what's appropriate, what's welcomed, and what isn't. When you respect that line, when you show that you're not just driven by impulse, but guided by emotional intelligence, something powerful happens. She feels safe with you. And when a woman feels truly safe, that's when she opens up. Not just physically, but emotionally. And that's where real connection begins. Let's talk about the foundation that makes all of this work. Trust. Because here's the truth. Without trust, none of the emotional depth, intensity, or connection we've been talking about actually happens. A woman cannot explore vulnerable feelings. She cannot relax into that sense of surrender. She cannot feel desired on that deep level, unless she knows at her core that you are safe to be around, that you understand boundaries, and that you respect her fully. Trust is not just a word. It's a feeling she experiences in your energy, your presence, your consistency. Think about it. Every woman carries her own history, experiences, fears, and past disappointments. And when a man comes in without awareness, rushing, pushing, or misreading cues, her guard goes up instantly. But when you show up grounded, confident, emotionally attuned, she feels the difference. She notices when you listen, when you pay attention to her reactions, when you respond instead of react. And those little moments create a cumulative sense of safety that makes her open up, that makes her feel seen, truly seen, for who she is. Trust is also about consistency. It's about showing her over time that your intentions are steady, that your respect is unwavering, that your presence is reliable. When she senses that she can let her guard down without risk, when she feels emotionally secure, that's when she can allow herself to experience attraction fully, without hesitation, without fear. So as a man, your focus should be on becoming trustworthy first, on being aware, attentive, and emotionally intelligent, because everything else, desire, surrender, intensity, flows naturally from that foundation. Trust isn't just part of attraction, it creates attraction, and it's the bridge between imagination and real emotional connection. Without it, nothing else matters. With it, everything changes. Here's where it all comes together. Emotional leadership. Because attraction isn't about being the loudest, the most aggressive, or the most dominant in a room. It's about guiding energy in a way that feels natural, confident, and magnetic. Emotional leadership means you can create a space where a woman feels safe to show vulnerability, to relax into the moment, to respond to your presence without pressure. It's not about controlling her. It's about directing the emotional current between you so she can feel swept up, intrigued, and fully engaged. Think about it like this. In any interaction, there is an energy flow. Some men allow chaos to dictate it. They react to moods, misunderstand cues, or overcomplicate simple moments. But emotional leaders sense the rhythm. They know when to pause, when to step forward, when to be present, and when to let silence speak. That's the kind of subtle control that sparks deep attraction, because she senses your awareness, your confidence, your ability to hold the space for her, and that feels irresistible. Emotional leadership also requires attunement, noticing micro-expressions, shifts in energy, or subtle hesitation, and adjusting your behavior accordingly. It's about guiding without force, inviting without pushing, letting her feel that she is safe, desired, and in control, even as the chemistry intensifies. And here's the powerful part. When you can master that, when you can lead emotionally rather than physically, women naturally lean in, relax, and mirror your energy, creating a magnetic connection that feels almost effortless. So the skill isn't about theatrics, it's about presence, awareness, and emotional intelligence. When you develop this kind of leadership, you don't just attract, you inspire trust, deepen desire, and create experiences that linger long after the moment ends. Because real connection is never forced, it's guided, and that guidance, done right, is irresistible. Now, let's bring this all together, because understanding these points isn't just theory. It's about changing how you show up with women, how you lead emotionally, how you make her feel safe, desired, and fully seen. If you take anything away from this, let it be this. Attraction is emotional, subtle, and deeply rooted in trust and awareness. Not aggression, not force, not trying to act out fantasies literally. The men who succeed, the ones who women remember and feel drawn to, are those who understand the emotional blueprint, who know how to create space, express desire respectfully, and guide energy naturally. That's where real chemistry lives. And here's what I want you to do next. Start observing yourself in every interaction. Notice your presence, your tone, your confidence, your ability to read energy and respond rather than react. Because the more aware you become, the more you can create an emotional environment where a woman feels safe to relax, let go, and experience attraction. That's your power, your advantage, your secret weapon. If this resonates with you, take a moment and reflect. How can you step into emotional leadership today? How can you become the man who naturally inspires trust, desire, and connection? Without pressure, without confusion, just pure emotional awareness? And if you want more practical guidance on creating that presence, more strategies to attract naturally and respectfully, I want you to hit that like button, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments. I read every one, and I want to hear your experiences, your questions, your breakthroughs. Let's turn this knowledge into action. Let's explore this together. Because attraction isn't just about understanding women, it's about understanding yourself, your energy, and the way you show up. So start today. Practice awareness, lead with confidence, create trust, and watch how women respond when they feel truly seen and desired. And remember, the best men aren't the strongest or the boldest. They're the ones who understand, the ones who guide, and the ones who lead emotionally. That's how attraction becomes effortless and unforgettable.